At the turn of the 15th century, the Ottoman Empire stood as a powerful force on the world stage, stretching from the heart of Anatolia into Europe. Under the leadership of Bayezid I, the empire expanded rapidly, conquering vast territories and securing its place as a dominant power. However, the seeds of the empire's downfall were sown during a confrontation that would forever change its future, the Battle of Ankara. In 1402, Bayezid I, often referred to as the Thunderbolt, was a determined and ambitious sultan who believed that nothing could stand in the way of his empire's expansion. His military campaigns had seen him push into the heart of Europe, winning victories that solidified the Ottoman presence in the Balkans. His boldness and military prowess were unmatched, but they would eventually bring him face to face with a foe like no other Timur, also known as Tamerlane. Timur was a Turkic-Mongol conqueror who, like Bayezid, sought to expand his empire. His empire spanned across Central Asia, and he had already laid waste to vast regions, including Persia and parts of India. The stage was set for a confrontation that would decide the fate of the Ottoman Empire. The Battle of Ankara, fought in July 1402, was a dramatic clash between two of the most formidable military powers of the time. Bayezid's Ottoman army, which was vast and well-equipped, faced off against Timur's forces, which were equally impressive. However, the battle turned into an overwhelming defeat for Bayezid, with his forces routed by Timur's superior strategy and the sheer size of his army. Timur's forces were not only large, but also experienced in warfare. The battle was marked by the use of cavalry, archers, and a well-coordinated attack strategy. Bayezid's army, although initially strong, found itself unable to contend with the Mongol strategy. Bayezid I was captured during the battle and taken prisoner by Timur. This was a humiliating moment for the Ottomans. Bayezid, once a fierce and proud conqueror, was now a prisoner in the hands of his enemies. The defeat shattered the confidence of the Ottoman military and left the empire vulnerable. The immediate aftermath of the battle saw the empire plunged into disarray. Bayezid's defeat not only crippled the Ottoman military but also left a power vacuum that sparked a bitter and brutal struggle for the throne. Bayezid's capture had far-reaching consequences. The Ottomans were left without strong leadership, and the empire was left divided into multiple factions. Bayezid's sons, each vying for power, would engage in a series of civil wars. The empire, once united and on the rise, was now fractured. The struggle for dominance would last for years, with the empire slipping into chaos as different factions attempted to seize control. In the absence of a strong central authority, the Ottoman Empire's territories began to fragment. The Balkans, which had been firmly under Ottoman control, began to see uprisings and rebellions. The once strong Ottoman presence in Europe began to crumble as local rulers took advantage of the chaos. Even within Anatolia, the power struggles between Bayezid's sons weakened the central authority, allowing regional rulers to assert their own independence. For the Ottomans, this was a dark period. The once proud empire seemed to be teetering on the edge of collapse. It was during this time of instability that the future of the Ottoman Empire hung in the balance. Would it recover from this devastating defeat, or would the empire fall into irrelevance, its territories consumed by the rising powers of Europe and Asia? As the years passed, the answer to that question seemed uncertain. However, one figure would emerge from the chaos, a man whose ambition, determination, and strategic brilliance would eventually restore the empire. Mehmed I, the son of Bayezid I, but before Mehmed could begin the task of restoration, the empire would need to face the challenges left in the wake of his father's fall. In the coming years, Bayezid's sons would fight among themselves for control of the empire, leading to a bitter and bloody civil war. But despite these internal conflicts, the Ottoman Empire would not be forgotten. The The legacy of Bayezid I's defeat by Timur would eventually give rise to a new chapter in Ottoman history, one that would see the restoration of the empire's power under a new, determined leader. The fall of Bayezid I and the Ottoman Empire's fragmentation left deep scars, but it also set the stage for a remarkable comeback. The empire was not destined to fall, as its remarkable recovery would soon prove. But before the restoration, the empire would have to endure the trial of succession and the challenges of a divided leadership. After the catastrophic defeat of Bayezid I at the hands of Timur in 1402, the Ottoman Empire found itself plunged into chaos. The once thriving empire now stood divided, with Bayezid's sons engaging in a brutal power struggle for control. This dark period, known as the Ottoman Interregnum, lasted for over a decade, with the empire's fate hanging by a thread. The hopes of restoring the empire rested on the shoulders of Mehmed I, the son of Bayezid I, who would eventually unite the fractured empire and bring stability back to the Ottomans. Mehmed I, born in 1389, was a capable and ambitious prince, but his early years were marked by the turmoil caused by his father's defeat. After Bayezid's capture by Timur, the Ottoman Empire became a battleground for Bayezid's sons, each of whom believed they had the right to succeed their father. The civil war that followed, known as the Ottoman Civil War, saw Mehmed and his brothers fighting for the throne. During this time, Mehmed spent years in exile, far from the court of the Ottoman capital, Bursa. Despite these hardships, Mehmed's resolve remained unshaken, and he would soon prove himself to be the leader capable of restoring the empire. As the civil war raged on, Mehmed found himself competing against his brothers, each of whom sought to control a portion of the empire's territories. His brothers Ishaq, Musa, and Suleiman each had strong military support from different factions within the empire, but none of them could fully unite the Ottomans. As the conflict dragged on, the empire became more fragmented and the Ottoman territories began to splinter. The Balkans, previously under Ottoman control, saw increased resistance from local rulers, and Timur's descendants posed a growing threat to the east. In 1413, after years of intense military campaigning, Mehmed I emerged victorious. The decisive battle that sealed his rise to power was the Battle of Korlu. Mehmed, having gathered loyal supporters and allies, faced off against his brother Musa in a climactic confrontation. The battle was fiercely fought, but Mehmed's forces triumphed and Musa was killed. With this victory, Mehmed I effectively ended the civil war and became the undisputed ruler of the Ottoman Empire. The challenges facing Mehmed were immense. The empire he inherited was shattered, both politically and militarily. The once formidable Ottoman military was in disarray, and the empire's territories had been reduced due to internal conflicts and external threats. In addition to this, the devastating consequences of the defeat at Ankara had left a deep psychological scar on the Ottoman people. Many questioned whether the empire could ever return to its former glory. Mehmed I, however, was not a man to be deterred by adversity. He immediately set to work rebuilding the empire from the ground up. His first task was to restore political stability. He sought to reconcile with the various factions that had supported his brothers, offering amnesty to those who had fought against him. By doing so, he was able to secure the loyalty of key military leaders and regional rulers, which was crucial for re-establishing central authority over the fractured Ottoman territories. One of Mehmed's most significant achievements was his ability to regain control over the Balkans. The Ottomans had faced numerous uprisings during the Civil War, and many of the region's territories had begun to fall away from Ottoman influence. However, under Mehmed's leadership, the empire's forces gradually reconquered much of the Balkans. Through strategic alliances and military campaigns, Mehmed was able to bring back rebellious territories under Ottoman control. His efforts to restore Ottoman rule in the region helped strengthen the empire's position and ensured that the Fihanan rule in the Fifan region helped strengthen the empire's position and ensured that the Fia Balkans would remain a critical part of the empire's future. In addition to his military successes, Mehmed I also worked to revitalize the Ottoman economy. The years of civil war had taken a toll on the empire's trade routes and agricultural production. Mehmed took decisive action to restore the empire's economic stability by improving infrastructure, supporting agricultural reforms, and reopening key trade routes. His policies encouraged merchants and traders from across the region to return to Ottoman-controlled lands, thereby revitalizing the empire's economy and securing its financial future. Perhaps one of Mehmed I's greatest successes was his ability to restore Ottoman prestige and morale. His leadership was marked by a sense of unity and determination. Under his rule, the Ottomans once again began to emerge as a powerful force in the region. The victories of the past, once overshadowed by the defeat at Ankara, were revived under Mehmed's leadership, and the Ottoman Empire regained its status as a major power in both Europe and Asia. Mehmed I's reign, though short, laid the foundation for the future success of the Ottoman Empire. He had brought stability and unity back to a fractured empire, and his efforts ensured that the Ottomans would continue to thrive in the centuries to come. His legacy was built on a mixture of military skill, political savvy, and economic reform, which would serve as the bedrock upon which future Ottoman sultans would build their empire. In conclusion, the restoration of the Ottoman Empire following Bayezid I's defeat by Timur was a long and arduous process. But under the leadership of Mehmed I, the empire was able to rise from the ashes of defeat. Mehmed's determination, military prowess, and political acumen helped restore the Ottomans to their former glory. While the empire had been fractured and weakened in the wake of Bayezid's defeat, Mehmed I's reign marked the beginning of a new era for the Ottomans, one that would see the empire grow in power and influence for centuries to come.